Welcome to the Diary of Discovery, the podcast where we delve deep into the human experience of healing and transformation. I'm your host, Jacky, and each week we will sit down with inspiring individuals who have embarked on their own personal journeys of healing and self-discovery. From overcoming trauma to navigating life's challenges, our guests share their raw and honest stories, offering insights, wisdom, and hope to all who tune in. So grab your favorite cup of tea, find a cozy spot, and join us as we uncover the power of resilience, courage, and the pursuit of authenticity. This is the Diary of Discovery. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am super excited to jump back in with a solo episode today. And today is an episode I have been thinking about this for a while because it's something that I'm seeing coming up again and again with not just my clients, but in myself too, in my journey of kind of healing on a larger scale, but also from people that I've interviewed across the podcast platform. And it's this idea that you can be doing all of the things. So in business, this could be strategy, posting, saying what you should, showing up in the way that you should. If we're talking about this from like a personal level, this could be, you're going to the gyms, doing the workouts, running, and for some reason, you're not getting the result that you want. So like when you're going through and you're looking at this, maybe you are doing all of the things and then for some reason you pull back. For some reason you disappear. For some reason you stop showing up. You start to overthink. You start to, maybe rewrite or overeat or, not post when you were supposed to or just not show up in the way that you wanted to show up. And on the surface, this looks like inconsistency. It looks like, okay, I'm doing the thing and then I'm not doing the thing. Or it looks like procrastination. So many people have been saying to me recently, oh, I feel like I'm really procrastinating. I'm not moving forward. And the other line that I always hear is, I just need to be a bit more disciplined. I just need to be a bit more disciplined and then this would work. And I've really been thinking about this because that's not actually what's going on. That's not actually what's happening. What's actually happening is your body is perceiving this new status as a threat. So whether it is in your business, you want to make more sales, be more seen, earn a new amount, it's a threat, even if it's what you want. If it is in like the gym idea, like going and changing the way that your body looks, showing up in a different way, losing weight, getting more toned, running a certain distance, whatever it is, something new, something different is a threat. So there's no like strategy or action or doing more that can actually override that threat in the business. So I just wanted to like really call this out and talk about this because so many people are trying to move from this place of just being more consistent, just showing up more, just starting, like just taking messy action. And yes, action matters. Like, we talk about practical application all the time in the podcast. Like, it's so important. But what I've started to realize is that if your nervous system doesn't feel safe with the action that you're trying to take, it will find a way for you to avoid it, literally every single time. It will cause some sort of dissonance where you are not able to take the action, but not from a conscious place. You'll just suddenly realize that you're not doing the thing. So, for instance, this could look like planning loads of content but never actually posting anything. Yeah. Or it might be like posting something and then just absolutely going quiet for like a week in your business and not actually like doing anything. This could be consuming more than you create. So watching videos on how to do the thing rather than actually doing the thing. And I made myself laugh so hard recently because I was in this state of like real procrastination against something that I was looking to create. And it is a massive up level for myself, my business, my income, like all of the things. And I was like, oh, all I need to do is really focus and really like work hard and do some hard work and like really get my head into it. And instead of doing the thing, I bought a book on how to do deep work and how to focus. And it literally like I was like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing. And this is kind of what spiraled this episode to start is I had to really just pull myself out and be like, actually, I am being an absolute like dick to myself at the moment because all I'm doing is consuming more of something that isn't going to help me create in the long run. So when you are tweaking things, changing things, finding ways to not do things. Like you'll be like, oh yeah, no, I just don't have time to fit in that run. Like I just can't get in around this. I'm gonna struggle to wash my hair and like get to this thing. Like as soon as you are making up these excuses that genuinely sound realistic, they sound really important, they sound like they're the right thing, it's always really subtle. It's always subtle because you can still feel like you're doing the things. Like you can still feel like you're making the progress or you're showing up in the right way. But actually, you're going to subtly be sabotaging yourself and stopping yourself from actually moving forward. And like with the gym act, like the gym example, like I've had somebody speak to me before where they were like, yeah, I go to the gym and I work out and I do all of these things and it's so good, but then I'm still not like losing any weight or toning up or shaping up or anything like that. And when we actually looked at it, one of the big things was the story that she was telling herself around. She goes to the gym, she works out, she runs, she does the thing. And then because of that level of activity, she's more hungry. And her subtle like sabotage is, well, I've done the thing, I've done the hard thing. So one bag of chips won't hurt. One, biscuit won't hurt. One this won't hurt. One that won't hurt. And the process is she does all the extra stuff, but then she eats the extra stuff. And it's not like mass overeating or massively unhealthy or, piling in loads of processed food or anything. It's just the subtle, oh, well, I could just have one of those because I've done more of this over here. And this is what we're talking about. Like, a lot of people miss this. Like the most important thing that people miss here is this is not about like you're a lazy person and that's why you're not able to. It's not about like you're not good enough to do the thing or get the outcome. And it certainly is not because you need another course or you need another, download or you need like something to help you do this. The reason for this is because your body is trying to protect you from the thing. And at some point, being seen didn't feel safe. Being changed didn't feel safe. Like maybe you've been judged, maybe you've been criticized, maybe you've been told that you need to be quieter, smaller, less, not in people's faces. Like you've been told that what you are is not right. And there's a level of healing that needs to be done in that space around actually how do we show up for ourselves? How do we hold ourselves in a way where we say, actually, it doesn't matter what's going on around me. It doesn't matter what other people think. I can still show up for myself. I can still love myself, respect myself, forgive myself, like show up in this way. So maybe you have like never been visible in this way before. Maybe you're pushing yourself to a new level of skill, a new level of fitness, a new level of boundary with your family. Like whatever you're pushing yourself to, your body will read that as unfamiliar. Your body will be like, oh, we've never done this before. We've never put a boundary in like this before. We've never said no like this before. We've never showed up in this way before. We've never asked for the thing that we desire before. And because it's unfamiliar, the body reads, this is unsafe. This is unsafe. So when you do something that is outside of your comfort zone, it goes against your system. The feedback from your nervous system is this is risky. And in that moment, your subconscious will pull back. Yeah, it will pull you back. And unless you can notice when this is happening and recover by grounding yourself back into your body, your safety, what is possible for you, etc., you're not going to be able to move forward. Like, this is something that I think is so important and people really need to understand. So, this isn't about strategy alone. Like, this isn't about we just need to do the work, we just need to show up more. Because if it was just about the best strategy, then you would have already achieved this. Like, if it was just about, okay, you know what the thing is you need to do and you just need to go do it, you will have done it already. But the reason that you aren't is because your body doesn't feel safe executing the thing. So you'll start and then you'll stop. You'll show up and then you'll hide. You'll say the thing and then you'll backtrack. And what tends to happen is as you do this, each cycle that you go through and do this, you start to build a new neural pathway that says things like, I'm inconsistent. I'm not cut out for this. This won't work for somebody like me. And when we go through this, what's actually happening is your nervous system just hasn't caught up with the change that you're making. It hasn't caught up with this is who I want to be, this is how I want to show up, this is the new level for me, which means that instead of actually building in that new level and becoming that person, we're creating more what I call nervous system drag to actually have less ability to do the thing that we want. And that is not what we're here for. Like, that's not what we're creating. And I've seen this like on my own journey. So, from things like what I was just explaining with, okay, I need to dive into some deep work. I'm pushing myself against it. So, actually, what I'm going to do is buy a book rather than actually sit down and just do the work. Another time I saw this was after running my first marathon. So when I attempted to run my very first marathon, I got to like a kilometer out. And for anyone who's listened to this podcast, you've heard this story. A kilometer out from the end, and I ended up collapsing. I ended up in an ambulance, and my nervous system took a real hit as to running long distance is no longer safe. We do not do this. And it was so interesting because I went from literally training and running 42 kilometers. Like my longest run before that had been 36 kilometers. I had clocked 41 kilometers, like in the process of running that marathon, to not being able to run over 5 kilometers. Like my body wouldn't let me. I would start getting pains. I would start feeling sick. I would get all in my head. Wouldn't be able to breathe. And it's like absolutely ridiculous when you think about this because just the week before I'd run 30 kilometers. Like actually nothing in my fitness had changed, but everything in my nervous system DNA said this is no longer safe. We're no longer doing this. This almost killed us. And even though I like wasn't actually physically at risk, I didn't actually almost physically die. My nervous system was really, really traumatized by that process. And this is what we've got to think about. When our nervous system is triggered, it can stop us in ways that we like don't even realize in the first instance. So, you could have your offer ready, you could have your content planned, you could have clear next steps, and yet you just won't do anything. You'll find yourself like scrolling on your phone, reading a book, sorting out things in the house, like busying yourself with life. And the really key thing is like you have to be really careful because I remember for me thinking in that process, like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Like, why could I run 40 kilometers last week and now I can't do five? Like, there must be something wrong with me. Or potentially, like, maybe if it is around your business, like, I could be sitting thinking, like, why can I do this for clients, but I can't do this for myself? And all of these things are not about the strategy or the process that you're using. And it's really interesting because the shift actually came when I stopped trying to force more discipline. So when I actually started paying attention to what my body was doing, I started to realize that the resistance wasn't random. So it was showing up right at the point of the thing that stretched me. So, say for instance, if it's in business, it was showing right up at the point where I was about to get visible, right up at the point where I was about to hit record on the Instagram story to sell the offer. Suddenly, it's like, oh, that feels disgusting. Or with the running, it was like right when I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and push myself and do a little bit further, do a little bit of a longer distance, like get back into this, like get back into my fitness. My body would literally like rebel against me. And it wasn't a coincidence. Like the timing of the resistance wasn't random. There was no coincidence as to what was actually happening here. And I think that that is what is really key. And what actually helps when you're going through this is it's not about like more pressure or pushing through or like just telling yourself to get over it. Like that's not the point. Like you've got to start with awareness. So you've got to actually catch when are the moments when you're pulling back and notice it without making it mean something about you, your capability, your worth. Like, oh, that's interesting. This has happened again. Because the moment that you can detach this response has happened from this is my identity and who I am, the quicker you can actually make that shift. Because once you've noticed, okay, this is the response, this is happening again, we then have the ability to reduce the threat. So instead of going from 0 to, say, full visibility or 0 to 40 kilometers like overnight, we can build up gradually and we can say, okay, maybe it is posting something really like simple. Maybe it is just sharing a thought on a story and not selling immediately. Maybe it is speaking up and like actually saying the words on a video rather than writing them, like small, safe, repeatable things. Because what your nervous system is learning through this is like the experience, not the logic, the experience of, oh, I posted that thing and I didn't die. That's great. I shared this thought and actually people were receptive to it. That's great. Or um, maybe it is like I have gone and I've run that extra bit of like distance and it was okay in the end. Like your body needs to experience and you have to be able to do that because part of this process, like before you can show up, before you can do the thing, is you have to be able to regulate. And this is what like so many people skip this bit. If your body's in a stress response and it's creating or selling from a place of feeling forced, you create that slowdown, that nervous system drag that I spoke about. Whereas actually, if you can breathe, move your body, and actually give yourself a moment to come back into neutral, to come back into ground, and then act from there, it's going to make such a difference in how you show up. Now, one of the really big things I think that is really important to say at this point is like with the marathon, it was such a traumatic experience for me. I couldn't actually ground myself. So like as much as I'm a yoga teacher, as much as I've done this for years, as much as I've like healed my own depression and gone through this whole process, I couldn't actually ground myself because my body felt so unsafe. And the first level of this was getting in the room with one of my friends who, it was Zoe who runs the Fearless You retreats with me, and actually saying to her, I'm gonna need you to ground me. I'm gonna need you to bring me back into my body because I'm not able to myself. Brilliant. Like that's awareness and being able to get the help that I need. The second part of the process was actually working with somebody else and getting them to actually do a nervous system check for me and figure out like what is it that my body is still scared of. And it was a really, really like interesting process. I'm not going to get into the kind of ins and outs of that at the moment, but like it was a really interesting process. And what happens is when you start to realign and you start to bring yourself back to ground, you can then start to do the repetition of the action. So it's not about perfect execution. It's not about getting it right every time. It's just showing your body like it's safe to do this again and again. Like I can do this. Nothing bad's going to happen. Like I am capable of this. It's safe to show up in this way. And that's actually where the shift comes in. It's more so in that ability to show up and do something and actually be seen, like reframe being seen, selling, reframe the action that we said was scared, like reframe setting the boundary. We set the boundary, nothing bad happens. We go, oh, okay, I could set a stronger boundary next time. Like it's about actually how do we go through this process and go through this reframe and ground ourselves and actually take the action again and ground ourselves and take the action again, because somewhere along the line, it just becomes the norm. It just becomes like what we're doing, and being seen feels less exposed. Like selling feels like less pressure. Going and doing the run doesn't feel like it's going to kill you. Like going through and actually setting the boundary feels really good in your body instead of feeling really bad. And this is the thing, like it doesn't have to be something that is a big thing, but we can actually like flip that. So rather than selling feeling like massive pressure, we can look at like selling feels like a massive invitation where we have the opportunity to help somebody and give somebody support and show up in a way. Like it really gets to shift and like soften the way that we show up and like how we actually approach these things. So if right now you're in a place of feeling really stuck and you're not really sure, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go from here. And maybe you were like, what to do, but you're just not doing it. Maybe you are like, I should be doing these things, but I'm just not actually taking the action or follow through. Maybe you want to consider that you don't need more strategy. Maybe you want to consider that actually you need a body that feels safe to use the strategy that it already has. And the next level isn't about you actually doing more. Maybe it's about how do we feel safe enough to be seen and like engage in this process. Now, I know like I always ask my guests for really practical things that like you guys can do as listeners. And I think when it comes to this process and it comes to grounding, there's a couple of really easy things that you can do that can automatically bring our bodies back into ground. So one of the easiest things is actually connecting in nature. So getting your soles of your feet onto earth and walking on grass. Like it's something we don't do enough of in the day and age that we live in. Everyone wears shoes, everything is tarred and concreted. Like actually finding a patch of grass, putting your feet on them and just breathing when you feel that like momentary, oh my gosh, this is too much. I don't know what to do in this space. Another thing that you can do is you can actually journal on what the resistance is and the patterns in the resistance. So when I was doing the running, I started to notice like I was really struggling with like certain things, certain routes, certain places that I was running, certain people I was running with. And actually having that all of that information made it much easier to figure out what was going on and how I could actually move through it. So sitting down and asking yourself the question like, where is the resistance coming up? When I say I want to do X thing and then I don't do it, where is the moment of breakdown? And what is the action that I'm taking instead? So instead of doing the thing, I am, doom scrolling on Instagram. Instead of setting the boundary that I want to, I am letting somebody get away with and, bending so that I'm not being too difficult or too much or asking too much of people. Like, actually, when you can start to capture this is the reason, this is what's causing it, this is where it's coming from, it becomes so much easy to actually shift and start to move. So my advice for you on this, like really, really find awareness as a starting point. Find awareness to like what is the thing that you're trying to do, and then what is the resistance to you doing it? What does your nervous system not feel safe about in this scenario? Because if we don't feel safe, our nervous system is going to subconsciously sabotage us. So we've got to build safety into what we do. Okay. Now, I'm gonna wrap it up there because I think like we could get into a whole nother kettle of fish, and I'll do more on this, I think, in another solo episode and like dive into this in a bit more detail. But if this has landed for you, I'd really love for you to actually share the podcast and share the message. Maybe like send me a message directly. I always love hearing from you guys on Instagram. And I love hearing what's actually resonating because it really helps me create more content that is useful for all of you that listen to the podcast. I would also love to say that we have clocked over 2,000 individual humans across the world that actually have listened to the podcast, which just blows my mind. Like to have so many people, we've got people literally on every single continent that listen to the podcast now. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you. I absolutely love that everyone is like as invested in their healing journeys as I am. And I'll see you on the next solo episode.
Thank you for listening to another inspiring episode of the Diary of Discovery. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends, family, or anyone else you think might benefit from the stories of hope and transformation. Your feedback means the absolute world to us, so please take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help us to reach even more listeners and continue to bring this meaningful content to the world. Until next time, remember, your healing journey is valid. You are never alone, and you have the strength to get through this. Keep shining bright, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Diary of Discovery.